Okay, so here's the fireplace as it stands right now. It's a brand new gas fireplace. You know, it's decent, but I don't like the tile around it. I don't like the mantle, it's too tall. And because of the mantle being too tall, when we mount our TV, the TV is way too high. So what I want to do is remove the mantle and install a different wood grain looking mantle, and hopefully not one that's 8 inches freaking tall, because that just makes the TV too tall. Alrighty, you guys, let's just go ahead and jump into this. So take a utility knife and cut around the entire perimeter of the mantle. You want to do this to help release it from the wall so that when you remove it, it doesn't rip the paper of the sheetrock. And you also want to expose the seams around the perimeter so you can see what you're doing. I'm grabbing my trusty Husky 15-in-1 painter's tool. Honestly, if you're going to DIY, you want to get yourself one of these. So here I am just shoving it into the seam behind the mantle and using a hammer to help separate it from the wall. Truthfully, we've used this Husky tool for pretty much everything. We bought a different house last year and we kind of like cosmetically flipped it, and it was probably used in every single project that we did. So, you know, and you don't even have to be nice to it. Just go ahead and shove it in there, bend it every which way, and just figure it out. Finally removing the last piece of mantle from the wall, you see me kind of take a step back here and look at what I'm doing and realize that instead of prying this piece off, I can just remove this piece of board from the wall and it'll all come off. Okay, I've arrived at my first impasse. I don't have whatever little drill bit, star-shaped drill bit that is to get this piece of lumber off the wall. So once I can actually get this off of here, because I'm not gonna like pry it off the wall, because then that's just gonna create more work. Alright, so we're finally back from Home Depot with that freaking drill bit, and if this shot is kind of all over the place, it's because my husband Chase filmed it, and when he was filming it, he said he wanted to be dynamic, so you can thank Chase for that. And I apologize, I also didn't get any footage to put here from Home Depot, but that's because I'm new, and I really don't want people staring at me while I'm walking around filming with my phone in Home Depot. Going back in with my trusty Husky 15-in-1 painter's tool, I'm just going around and removing the big ridges of the 3 or 4 layers of paint that was around the mantle so that I have a smooth base for mudding. We had an old bucket of all-purpose joint compound just chilling in the garage, so I pulled that out, checked it, it's kind of dry, so I added some water to it, mixed it around, and I'll use that to patch the deeper ridges on the wall before we go over it with other stuff. And I don't really show it here in this clip, but when you're filling in holes and stuff like that, don't leave huge globs of joint compound and putty and stuff on the wall, because that just leaves you with a lot more sanding to do afterwards. So when you fill in something, make sure you take the edge of your putty knife and scrape it flat so that you don't have to sand so much. Now I'm going in with a damp sponge to wet the joint compound down a little bit before I sand it so that the edges of the joint compound blend in better with the knockdown texture on the wall. Taking it out back to my backyard now, I'm using the Homax knockdown texture spray. Texture spray from a can seems to have a super bad reputation online, but after reading a whole bunch of reviews on it, I had some success with soaking the can itself in really hot water for about 5 minutes, and then you have to shake this can very vigorously for probably a minute or two before you start spraying in order to get the desired texture that you're probably looking for. Next, I'm using the Max knockdown texture blade. You could probably do this with a putty knife, but you really want this foam blade, I promise. It's going to be the softest on the texture. Now that I'm feeling semi-confident, I'm back inside to actually spray the texture onto the wall now. A tip for success with this is to stop and shake the can for about a minute, probably every 3 minutes that you're doing this. And then take your putty knife or texture blade and hold it parallel to the wall and very gently knock down the texture by scraping it to the side. Clean off your blade every now and then and glide over it a few times until you're satisfied. So now I've got my fireplace mantle that I ordered off of Amazon. And honestly, I should have known better, but, well, tons of the reviews on this particular listing were saying that the golden oak color, which is the color that I ordered, is very green. And what do you know, they were right. So here I am pulling it out of the box and sorely disappointed in what it looks like. So then basically I ended up spending pretty much an entire weekend sanding off the finish from this mantle and applying my own finish. Also, you guys, learn from my mistakes and make sure that before you leave the store, if you're holding a stain that's water-based in your hand, make sure that the wood conditioner or whatever you want to use with it is also water-based. That way you don't waste your own time. For this particular project, I went with the Varathane Pre-Stain Wood Conditioner and the Varathane Premium Fast Dry Wood Stain in Golden Oak. And after 2 trips to Home Depot, I made sure that both of these were oil-based. And listen, it would behoove you to use a wood conditioner before you stain. That way, whatever you're staining has a more uniform color and even tone to it. Just watching you do my job. Sir, that is way too high.
I know, I'm trying to line up with my little hole.
Just completely defeating the purpose of this entire thing. You mount it higher than the other mantle was. Look at the world's best helper. Are you helping us, Mads? Hi.
Hi.
It's my YouTube channel, but you're doing the work right now. Holes are hard.
So the center hole should be kind of lined up. Right.
Pranked! Fucking pranked! Got you! Ooh, that's a stud. Yeah. Oops. Yep.
Yeah, like I do in this situation.
Once you have all your pilot holes drilled, go ahead and put in your anchors. And with something this heavy, you absolutely must use anchors in whatever holes aren't in studs. Watch them not line up at all.
Right.
Just.
As long as most of them were there. Let's make these more flush.
The hammer?
The hammer.
2 shreds, you say?
Oh, how awful. Did he at least die painlessly? To shreds, you say? Well, how is his wife holding up? To shreds, you say?
So before sticking the mantle up there, I hammered in all the anchors that were partially sticking out so that we wouldn't have problems with the mantle not being flush with the wall. And then finally, we're screwing in the screws? We're screwing in the screws. We're screwing in the screws, and then the project gets harder. I kind of have to record this like at the end because I didn't like take any other footage or anything to like kind of cap the video out. But I hope you enjoyed. Took me forever. I had to learn how to do everything on the computer, and I have a really slow 2014 iMac, so hope you appreciate all the effort. And if you would, please subscribe, like, comment, whatever, you know, all the typical stuff that YouTubers say all the time, because I do want to start consistently uploading on here, uploading a whole bunch of house projects and decorate with me's and maybe some home hauls and like tips and tricks for like home stuff. I know that this video probably wasn't the best video you've ever seen, but I did work really hard on it, and I'm sure my videos will improve as time goes on. So please consider subscribing, and I hope you enjoyed it.